Hello, hello. How's everyone feeling after the eclipses? It's been a minute. It is April 6th, technically Saturn night. The sun is in Aries and the moon just entered Leo. So, and we've had a cute sextile between the sun and Jupiter in Gemini. So with the sun in Aries and Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter bringing blessings and abundance in the sign of Gemini, which is very social and chatty. We could have been out and about, just catching up, enjoying the spring weather. I know here in San Francisco it was a beautiful spring day, not so windy as it's been in the past week, and had some good friends come back for a visit who have been gone for about 5 years. And yeah, it was good to see them hanging out at Dolores Park, and it was just a flood of people, just like the good old days pre-COVID. So yeah, it was a beautiful day of socializing, and typically I would be pretty spent, but with this energy between Neptune in Aries now, this new energy of Neptune in Aries trining the moon now in Leo, it just entered Leo. It's this willingness and desire to express, and having this, I guess, spiritual encouragement, and I guess you'd call it emotional courage to express and talk about these spiritual energies. I mean, it's inspiring. It's like a spiritual fire. And today also there were worldwide protests, which is totally encouraging of this Sun-Jupiter sextile. And earlier the moon was in Cancer, conjunct Mars in Cancer, which totally adds to and complements the impulse or the drive to defend one's rights and, family and the sanctity of, well, I guess you could call it traditional values. Like there were so many different protests going on. Of course, Palestine. There's so many things to protest with the new administration. So, you name it. It takes a lot out of me to be involved in that, and everybody plays a role. So, I'm in the camp of using the energy in a quieter space, just based on my own personal energies. So, but anyway, yeah, the protests were supported by this energy of Neptune in Aries, and with Mars and the moon in Cancer. That's perfect. Mars is the ruler of Aries, so it's like this spiritual crusade or sacred crusade, everyone coming together to reverse a lot of these ridiculous bills or laws or mandates or whatever rules that they're trying to enforce. So with Venus still retrograde, those things, those ridiculous attempts at control are working, And then Mercury right now is still retrograde. It will go direct on the 7th of April, which is Monday. And then we have Venus conjunct Saturn, Venus and Saturn in the sign of Pisces, Mercury in Pisces with the North Node, and the presence of the North Node. So yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to kind of mention, is the energies that are surrounding the North Node in Pisces. Like the North Node can be a very uncomfortable feeling. It's kind of like that manual that you have for life, or for these, 18 months that the North Node is in Pisces, where you are encouraged to go in this direction for, your personal evolution as well as the collective evolution. And it can be uncomfortable. It's, not familiar territory for, depending on where your personal planets are, so it could be easier for some of us and more difficult for others. With Saturn in the mix as well, Saturn is direct. Saturn is not retrograde, so this is kind of like, I forget who it was, but they kind of described this Saturn North Node conjunction as like a Saturn return for everyone. So Saturn return is like a phase of maturity that we all go through. So personally, we go through it when we're around 27 to 30 years old. So it's when Saturn in the sky comes back to the same Saturn of your own natal Saturn. And so it's kind of like this up-leveling phase. And with Saturn currently in the sky, like 2 degrees away from the North Node, it's kind of like this pull toward like a serious maturity. And with Venus there, Venus is connected to relationships, finances, what you attract, what you like. So this can be like an up-leveling of things that you value, relationships, and in terms of finances, this can be a more serious approach to how you handle your finances, and also the relationships that you have that are connected to finances, whether that's your bank or someone who financially supports you. You know, like this is not an easy transit. It is making beautiful trines to Mars and Cancer, and so there is this like flow of energy where you can feel like this emotional pull. I mean, I consider the Mars and Cancer, trine to Saturn and Pisces as the strength to surrender, and so that can mean a lot of different things to each of us. But Saturn, there's some things that we've all been working on for months or maybe even years, and with a sextile to Uranus in the mix as well, there can be unexpected, delightful surprises. And Uranus in the sign of Taurus, that's connected to your stability, your foundation, and money as well. So there could have been some sort of delightful windfall or something that kind of shifts the timeline. And now you're faced with this kind of choice point or decision where you can either take the easy route or continue with the vision that you have. And Saturn doesn't like the easy route. There's a struggle that Saturn kind of honors, and so the lessons that Saturn dishes out, it's up to us whether to show our work and do the math, or depending on your situation, like the other option might be to choose the easy route, and maybe you're being invited to or even tempted to go back to your old ways, or whether that's staying where you were, or staying or remaining the same situation that you're in, and just forgetting about the goals and ambitions that you had been envisioning for the past, year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. And so there's this kind of, it's almost like it feels sort of like a T-square or a crossroads moment, even though Jupiter in Gemini is not at the degree that it is squaring the nodes. Jupiter is at, 17 degrees. And the nodes are at 27, so it's not quite at a T-square. And that won't happen until May 18th, when Jupiter squares the nodes at 25 degrees. Oh God, this is squaring my Mercury and Sun. And so with Jupiter being the ruler of our North Node, this could be, the way I feel into this is we have these beautiful blessings and opportunities that are presenting themselves, and we can either accept them and use them as they are expected to be used as, or somehow transcend those blessings, or find other ways to, I guess you can say, alchemize these blessings in a way that suits your vision. It's a beautiful time. There's so many opportunities and directions that we can evolve into. So it's just a matter of how we choose to operate or approach these newfound blessings. But yeah, we have a lot of support right now with the new Neptune in Aries, in a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, making a lot of long-lasting changes to the collective's systems, the systemic problems are finding solutions, believe it or not. They're coming together with Neptune in Aries, and Mars will be in Leo. Let's see, Mars moves into Leo on April 18th, and so that's going to be a cycle. I mean, it'll still be in shadow because Mars retrograded at 6 degrees Leo, which again is the north node of the United States. And Leo, I mean, Mars will reach that 6-degree Leo point again on around May 2nd, and then it'll be out of shadow. And then Venus will also be in Aries, making a trine to Mars, so in a conjunction to Neptune, and Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and so this is another beautiful energy to take advantage of, especially if you are artists, creatives. You can really connect to that high level collective energy of like that spiritual warrior, crusade energy. The thing that could be challenging is the opposition of Mars and Pluto. It can appear jarring, but with Mars, I consider Mars to be like soldiers and, you know, the common people, people who are defending their creativity. Like, this is the creatives, and in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, that's like the powers that maybe shouldn't be. Like, it's the young and the old, or like the progressive and the conventional. I mean, Pluto in Aquarius is kind of like a paradox, but the opposition between Mars and Pluto gives us a lot of drive and energy to break through any kind of resistance in order to pursue our creative passions and express. So we'll be able to like resist censorship and really fight for our right to express our personal opinions. And I mean, it could of course be beyond that, like whether it's expressing our opinions through word or appearance or art or any sort of outward expression. And that's definitely tied into our sexual expression, gender expression, the way we present ourselves, how we present ourselves, our choice in how we present ourselves. So Mercury's going direct on the 7th, Mercury in Pisces, and of course Mercury is also commerce and communication and travel, and so more clarity when it comes to how we are going to access our basic needs, especially in a sextile to Uranus and Taurus going direct. So Mercury and Venus going direct in a sextile to Taurus. I mean, this can be innovative ways of growing or accessing how we support ourselves. So the full moon in Libra will be on the 12th, and that will be the same day that that'll be the same day that Venus goes direct. Venus will go direct at 24 degrees Pisces, which is the ruler of Libra. And so that synchronicity itself is such a beautiful orchestration of what universe is doing. It's like really supporting us to see what we need to see in order to make those decisions regarding relationships, our finances, what we possess. And the sun will be in conjunction with Chiron at 22 degrees Aries. So 22 being a Capricorn degree. I feel like that would have to do with the authorities again. Capricorn is connected to government entities, father figures. And the ruler of Aries will be at 27 degrees Cancer. So Mars will be in Cancer in an exact trine to the North Node in Pisces, and Mercury in Pisces. And so our conversations will be faded. So the sun will be in conjunction with Chiron at 22 degrees Aries, and then the full moon occurs at 23 degrees and 19 minutes in Libra. So that's going to be at 5:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 12th, Saturday. So less than an hour, Venus goes direct right after the full moon in Libra. How beautiful is that? So this can be like a seriousness to our relationships and our values and our money. And also Saturn and Uranus are in a sextile to one another, Saturn in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus. And so this is a beautiful, supportive energy of really bringing to life what we have been working on diligently. And I mean, Saturn is the disciplinarian. Saturn is a disciplinarian that does reward hard work eventually, and Uranus is the disruptor and can bring sudden change and unexpected events with the intention of like reshuffling things in the right way. And so the sudden opportunities that can come up when Uranus is making a sextile to Saturn in Pisces, surviving the struggle or like, you know, diligently working, there can be these unexpected events or unexpected opportunities that arise. These can be those deliciously absurd blessings that we would have never expected, and we may not quite know how to handle it or how to approach it, thinking that they may be too good to be true, or it might throw you off your timeline or your track. But we do have to be open and willing to kind of shift while keeping our visions like in focus. You know, easier said than done, of course. But yeah, that's what these retrograde periods are for, and you know, not to jump into decisions based on other people's expectations. You know, this is a time for us to really like set our boundaries and firmly but gently like let people know that this process cannot be rushed. I mean, especially with the retrograde tendencies of like things may not appear as they seem at the moment, and if we can just like hold off and wait and allow more information to come through, then we can have more clarity and get more insight as to how things can actually turn out. We may be receiving significant information that changes the entire trajectory of the blessings. So yeah, just don't rush into any kind of big decisions, especially when it comes to money and relationships and even aesthetics. Like Venus retrograde, you may have the urge to make some big change. You know, I've noticed like a lot of drastic short haircuts, and I think that happened when Venus was still in Aries, and Aries being like a warrior, like a young masculine energy. So people like chopping off their hair, but you know, it's not exactly, I mean, hair grows back, of course, but you know, if we can wait, if we can like have the patience to just kind of hold off until Venus goes direct again, then we'll have a clearer idea and be more comfortable with the outcome. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully I made sense. Thank you as always for sticking around, and you know, definitely hit me up if you're interested in how these energies are affecting your chart. There's a lot going on. I'm about to continue working on my newsletter. Yeah, feel free to subscribe, like, share, comment, all of those good things. And I will see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.